Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Indie Choice Picks. First off, I want to apologize. My upload schedule this week has been a little funky because I've been traveling for work. But I'm back now. It was fun, and now it's time to get back to work. So today, I bring to you the creator of Evermatter, and that is a pretty interesting name. When I met the guy, didn't really understand his concept, but he's bringing together Norse mythology. Well, not Norse mythology, Celtic mythology, which I've never heard of before. So that is going to be fun to learn about, so on and so forth. So, without further ado, let me bring to you guys the creator of Evermatter. You guys enjoy. Bye. How you doing, Jerry? It's welcoming to have you guys on the show, man. I've been seeing a lot of your artwork on Twitter. It's been a lot of fun, and I finally was able to get you on the show. So I was reading through your profile, and it said that you won Rookie of the Year for your comic book Evermatter 3 years in a row. So I mean, I've never had anybody who's had that kind of title like that before. So I'm gonna turn it over to you. Tell the audience who you are, how you got that title, and your book Evermatter. Take it away.
Well, my name is Jerry Brown. I wrote a book called Evermatter. It's a book based on Celtic mythology, and it's based in a sci-fi universe. And the Rookie of the Year thing, 3 years in a row. Well, obviously, you can't be Rookie of the Year 3 years in a row. So I've been working on this book for a while, mulling it over in my mind, and just kind of putting the pieces together as the story kind of came along before I actually started writing it. And I figure I've had it in my head about 3 years, so never really got started on it, never really made an attempt at it until previously this past year. So
Cool,
that's
cool.
where the rookie.
Go
So
ahead.
that's
I'm
where the rookie.
sorry.
Okay, it's all right. That's where the rookie of the year 3 years in a row came from. So
Right. Going back to your book Evermatter, you said it was based on what kind of mythology?
Celtic. I said Celtic. The word's interchangeable. People get onto you if you say Celtic. People get onto you if you say Celtic. There's really no right pronunciation. So Celtic
Okay.
mythology.
I'm really down with things that are based in kinds of mythology. I've had people on the show who base their stuff in African mythology, Ethiopian mythology. So it's always cool to explore other types of mythology except for the normal like Nordic and Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology. So can you touch base on Celtic mythology as well as telling the audience how you incorporated that into your story?
Yeah, I sure can. Well, Celtic mythology is it's a lot like Nordic mythology. There's a lot of similarities between the gods. For example, there's one god called the Dagda, and he's kind of like the godhead. He would be most you'd probably be more familiar with Odin.
Okay.
He's kind of like an Odin type character. Uh, but all of these gods have these great stories that I've not really seen a bunch of in literature or in comic books. We always see Thor and Odin and Zeus and the Pegasus type stuff, but I've not seen much Celtic mythology. And like the Dadga, for example, has a club. It's said to kill 9 men with one swing, but if he turns it over and uses the handle, it gives life back to uh, the fallen. So there's a lot of story ideas to be drawn from that those great stories of the past. So I've taken several of those and incorporated them into Evermatter, and also I've incorporated some Arthurian legend as well.
Okay, cool. So you say you took Celtic mythology and you molded it into more of a sci-fi kind of feel for it. How did you do that?
Yeah, well, it's set. The story is set in space, and it's basically so each world has what they call a bind, and a bind is basically a representative of that world. Of course, Earth hasn't been inducted into this organization yet because it's they you have to be at a certain point to be inducted into the organization. Earth just isn't at that point yet, and that's basically what the story is about. Is it's a bunch of worlds fighting over whether Earth is ready to be inducted, but something happens so that the Order of Binds, or the Council of Binds, what I call them in the comic, is has to induct Earth into this organization, and Earth is introduced to this, this technologically advanced, uh, all this tech and all this new stuff that Earth just hasn't never seen before. It's kind of like our first introduction to life outside of our own space.
Got you. I got you. I'm really liking your hat, dude. That's Venom, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's Venom. About everybody said, "Man, love the Spider-Man hat." But there was a waiter we went to one of the restaurants the other day, and a waiter came up and he's like, "Man, I love that Venom hat." And I was like, "You're about the only person that's actually known what it was." Most people are thinking Spider-Man. So,
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm like, it's not quite Spider-Man, but I'm pretty sure that's Venom because of how the legs are like, more dynamic, like more of an M shape. Like Spider-Man is like four up in the bottom, four down, but it's Venom when you see that
yeah,
like that. So I'm good. I'm good. So,
yeah, yeah, you got it. You got it. That's right.
so tell
So,
us more about your characters. So what's the overall theme here in terms of like who are the characters, what's the plot, the stakes and stuff like that. You don't have to give away
okay,
spoilers if you don't want to.
yeah, I'm gonna try not to, but I'm gonna try to talk about it as much as I can. So in Celtic mythology, there's two groups of gods basically. There's the Now I may butcher this pronunciation. There's the Dantu Tannen, and
Okay.
there's Fomorians. So bind bind quorum, and that's what we call in the Evermatter universe. That's what you call the representatives from each world is binds, because what happens is they receive a piece of Evermatter, which it's not really explained where that came from. It's believed to be the first matter ever in the universe where everything else came from. But your life force is bound to that gem, and it's normally put into like a necklace. Your life force is bound to that. You also receive ability has been. Can you still hear me? It looks like the internet's.
Yeah, the internet's kind of acting a
You
little
still there, Will?
screwy. Yeah, I'm still here. You good?
Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, but she can warp anywhere that she's seen, that she's been before, or that she has been in the past, and so anyway, you receive a power from this crystal, and it may be something mundane or it may be something spectacular like Kira's. So, uh, but then one bind Corum, he has made a mistake in the past dealing with Earth before. There
Hmm.
was a opportunity to bind Terra, which is the what most sci-fi books call Earth. It's Terra or Terran, but but anyway, he has made some mistakes in the past, and the main driving plot of the book is because Kira is wanting to bind Earth because of the impending threat of the Fomorians. They have organized. They had been defeated in the past, but they have begun to organize and to grow stronger and have started attacking uh, outer system worlds. And so Kira wants to bind Earth, and because Bind Corum has made mistakes in the past with Earth, he don't think the Earth is ready. So the conflict comes in where Kira and Bind Corum, who were once friends, are torn apart over this decision of trying to choose a bind from Earth, which they eventually do, and that is another character that will be introduced toward the end of the book, and we may not get much storyline from her at, at this point.
Okay. So that's really interesting. I know most people who write books or anything like that, they usually kind of take some mythology from other places. They kind of mold it into their own concepts, and they kind of center the story around that. I've never heard of Celtic mythology before, so have you? And if so, or if not, did you have to go and do like extensive research on it? Because when you mentioned the Evermatter being the source of all matter in the universe, kind of reminds me of the God particle that the people at CERN over in Geneva found with their hadron collider, sort of like that. So I mean, kind of like same concept, different names, stuff like that. So did you go ahead and research Celtic mythology? And as far as the Evermatter goes, was it like reference with like the God particle in real life terms or anything like that?
No, Evermatter is.
Hang on real quick. I think I lost your I can't hear you anymore. Did you hit mute?
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Go ahead and
Yeah,
start over. You got to the part and I was
I
like,
hit,
and then you went silent. I was like, oh no.
yeah, I hit muted with my elbow. This button's pretty sensitive. So,
Okay.
but no, Evermatter is something that I came up with on my own. It's something that because my I needed a I didn't want my characters to be immortal. Like, okay, so when you're bound to this Evermatter, your life force is bound to it. You're still mortal. You can still die, or if the crystal or the Evermatter is destroyed that you're bound to, then you will die. But you stop aging. So you could be thousands of years old, but you could be, look as if you're 20, but you're still mortal. So if you're shot or if you're slashed by a sword or something like that, you would still die. That's not part of the Celtic mythology. What is part of the Celtic mythology is mainly in this book is Dagda. He's the he is the leader of the Council of Binds, and he later comes in, and I'm trying not to give away a spoiler here. I'm trying to tell you about the Celtic mythology, but
Yeah,
I'm trying
just
not to
beat
give away a
around the
spoiler too.
bush as much as you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah. He comes in later and helps out in a big way, and then we're introduced to more of the Dan Tutanen. But in book one, I've got the script for book two wrote. Book one is basically an introduction to Ban Corum, Gary the alien, and Ban Kira. So I've broken the book down into smaller. I've seen on Indiegogo these guys are putting out these 100 and these 75 and these 80-page books,
Yeah.
and I want to have the majority of my book finished when I start my Indiegogo campaign. So I'm fronting a lot of the cost myself. So I've broken it down into a smaller chunk that I can handle, financially within my budget, and still have a good quality book. So that, and then I'm hoping to be able to uh, release books more often so that people can stay in contact with me, so I don't have to go a year between book releases. I may be able to do that within 3 months or 6 months after I release the first book. Of course, this one's taking the longest because I'm trying to build my social media presence
Yeah. That's
and
usually
trying
the
to get.
that's usually like the kind of crutch a lot of us are kind of like stuck with. Like you want to finish the book, you got a lot of stuff to do regarding the book, but you finish it, you put it out there, no one buys it. So it's kind of like the chicken and the egg scenario. Do I get the book done and then build a following, or build a following and get the book done? So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it at the same time. So I'm trying to have as much of a follow as the book is finished. So, but like I said, I'm trying to get most of it completed so that I don't have any issues with delivery. I want everybody to get their books just as soon as I can after the campaign is completed. So, trying to have as much of it done as possible.
Right on, right on. So let's jump into some of this art really quick. I got about 20 minutes, no, about 10 minutes actually left with you, but I'm going to share my screen with you so you can kind
Okay.
of show the audience some of the artwork. Are you responsible for the artwork all by yourself, or do you have a team working with you? And do you
No,
see my second screen?
I'm just the writer. Carlos Trigo. You can find him on Twitter at Carlos underscore Trigo, Trigo.
Okay.
He is the artist and the colorist on this. I have not chosen a letter yet for uh, for the book, uh, but I've got someone in mind. I just haven't told them. I just haven't told them that I'm going to use them yet, and I haven't asked if they're available yet. So, but yeah, this is Gary. This is Gary is the best pilot in the universe, hands down, and he is his race, his entire race. He's based on the gray aliens that you hear about in abduction stories and these
Yeah,
weirdo
ancient
kind of.
aliens. They're always talking about the grays. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he is based off of that race, and his people, all of his people, are infatuated with Earth. And in this scene right here, he is actually buying some Terran contraband, some Earth contraband, because he likes to pick up collectibles here and there. And he is he's our comic relief. He's scared to death that he's going to be labeled as a snatch and probe kind of alien, because in his culture, those are like the outcast or the weirdos,
Hmm.
so that snatch people and probe them. So he is the comic relief, and I really Gary is he's something else. He is infatuated with Top Gun. He loves Maverick from Top Gun because he is a pilot, just like Tom Cruise was in Maverick, and eventually he gets him some aviator sunglasses. So
I kind of
yeah,
got that vibe from him with the jacket, with the cushioning on the neck of the jacket. And I was like, huh, kind of gives off that Top Gun Tom Cruise vibe. So that's pretty good. Good job.
yeah. Carlos is amazing. He come up with that, and it just I had no suggestions on how to fix it. It was perfect from the start. So yeah, he's an amazing artist. And
Fantastic.
if you notice on that coin, it has the five fold symbol. It's basically a Celtic. You can't see it.
Yeah.
You can barely see it, but it's a five-fold symbol, and it just means harmony throughout the universe. Is the basic. It meant different things at different times, but it's basic. It's earth, wind, fire, water, and then the center symbol unites them all, and it's just kind of a little detail that he threw in there to kind of help tie the sci-fi part to the Celtic part of the
Right on. Right
story.
on. All right. And then we have this one here. Go ahead and then explain to the audience, like, who are these characters right here?
Okay, this is Bind Quorum. He is the master of all things magical. He is basically, if you would think a wizard or warlock, that is Bind Quorum, and he is the one that made the great mistake that kind of set all of this story in motion. And he's torn, and he's very uh, distressed about it.
Hmm.
The Fomorians, of course, are the bad guys in our story. They had been defeated. Bindcore made a mistake and allowed them to start gaining more power and start taking on uh, worlds in the outer rim and start building a military force. So he's torn about that, and he's worried about binding Earth, because it was Earth that he made a mistake with in the first place. Up there in the upper left in the gold, that's Bind Haggard, and he's one of the guys that his world that he represents is one of the worlds that is being attacked by the Fomorians, but because it's in an outer area of space, the people and the representatives that live closer to the center of the universe, they don't really take it serious, because Fomorians haven't been seen in so long, and it's just rumor or superstition. But he's pleading with the Council of Minds to help him and other worlds that in the outer realm that are being attacked by the Fomorians.
Got you. This is getting really deep. And the last one you sent me is this scene right here. Are these all consecutive pages, or are they all just different, like,
No,
scenes?
no, I chose the pages with the three main characters that
Ah,
I thought would highlight them, so that we could just talk about the characters. They're not consecutive at all. So, but this is Kier. If you look in the top panel in the background, you can kind of see that same glow, because the meeting where Mike Corum was standing, and he was kind of had his fist in the air. That's happening down below through that window, and this scene is happening at the same time as that. And this little guy right here, he looks very non-menacing, but of course you can see in that bottom panel he's got his hand on a dagger, and Kira's kind of suspicious about why he's there, what he's doing there. But Kira is my tie. She is the main tie to the Celtic and Irish mythology. I don't want to give too much away about her background because it's supposed to be a big reveal in the book. But she is very Irish, and she is a bind, but she's kind of because of the mistake that Bind Coral made, she's kind of been kind of put out by the necessity and the parliamentary tactics that the binds use. Sometimes it's become more politics than action. So she's more of an action type of lady, and she is has the ability to warp from place to place, and she is an amazing character. I just can't wait to share more about her. I wish I could. I wish I could, but I can't really. It's gonna ruin the story if I do.
Yeah, don't do that. I'm really interested in what you got going here. So let me get everything back to normal for the audience. So you have this book. You've been working on it for how long?
I've been working on it for well, like I said earlier, I've been kind of running the story around in my mind for a good while and putting the pieces together. And then actually first started, I was going to actually write a novel, but I kept getting bogged down in the, well, how should I write into my life? Um, how should I write, the character conversation between each other? And I, a lot of the people say, just to blast it out, get your words on paper, and then worry about the editing and all that. But I kept getting bogged down in it, and I couldn't not get bogged down in it. So
Mhm.
I, I got to, I said, well, I'm a more of a visual type of person. So I said, why not, a comic book? Because, and it was more of an outline style of writing where I could write, page one, panel one. But I've been working on it for uh, actual, I've had the script for uh, 6 months. I probably had Carlos working on the art for the last 4 months.
Okay.
So,
Are you planning on doing
but
it? Go ahead.
we've been taking it slow on purpose though, so that, uh, like I said, so that I could build my social
Got
following
you.
and
For sure.
hopefully get.
It's no rush. It's I always say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you want to kind of take your time, get it done right, make sure you hit every bullet point that you want to express, make sure your art's on point, nothing's really wrong. I mean, once it's done, it's done. I mean, you can't really go back. So I would say take your time, make sure you get every single thing you want done the way you want it to get done in terms of script, art, and everything, and get that finished. Whether that way you have something that's worth quality instead of something that's like quantity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So what do you plan on? You plan on running an Indiegogo at some point, or a Kickstarter, or what?
I plan on running Indiegogo.
Okay, and
Yeah, a lot of. Go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, you finish.
A lot of the people that I've talked to on Twitter and the people that I associate with on Twitter, they've run Indiegogos, seem to be successful doing that and following a certain formula, kind of, So I'm going to follow that formula and just try to have the same type of success that some of those have.
For sure, man. For sure, man. Well, we're coming down to the end of our time. I usually ask people who have run like campaigns or successful campaigns to give one piece of advice to people who are looking to do the same thing. But since you haven't done that yet, what is some piece of advice you can give people who haven't really started drawing their comic book yet or writing that script? What's the one piece of advice you can give them?
I would say the best piece of advice that I could possibly give is to start, because what held me back was, I didn't know the business. I didn't know uh, the ins and outs. But if you get it down on paper, you get that script finished, then you're halfway there. If you're a writer like I am, I'm not an artist, I'm a writer. If you're a writer, then the last step is finding a good artist to work with. And I would say also find a good artist to work with. Find somebody that's reputable, and make sure that they have finished a book in the past.
Right on, right on. All right. So, my advice for you, if you want to check out some of my other interviews when it comes closer to pushing your Indiegogo, I always ask the artists who have like completely crushed their campaigns that one piece of advice question, and they give some pretty cool advice on how to run a successful campaign. So I would take the opportunity when you're getting closer to about pre-launching or launching your campaign, check some of those out. It's usually towards the end of the interview, but don't say that for me. I mean, I watch the whole interview if you want. That's all
Yeah,
I'm getting.
I understand how it works. I'll watch the whole thing.
Yeah, man. So they give some pretty cool stuff, and most of those people that I've had on the show are always on Twitter, so you can reach out to them personally. Tell them Will at Heroic Studio sent you. They'll know exactly who I am, and they can give some pretty decent advice on how to be successful with your campaign, completely crush it.
All right, man. I sure do appreciate it, and I appreciate you having me on.
No problem, man. When you get a little bit closer to your campaign, we'd love to have you on again so I can help you push it and help you hit your goal. So keep in touch with me on Twitter. Let me know when it's coming closer to either your pre-launch or launching your actual campaign. We can have you back on the show. Usually people who come on the show and they're running a campaign, they kind of use the interview as an update to send out to their backers so people can see what's actually going on with the campaign, what the story's about, stuff like that. It actually helps reassure your backers, is from what I've been hearing from people who've come on the show previously. So apparently it works. So just let me know when
Okay.
you're ready to come back.
Yeah. I sure will. I'll keep in touch.
All right, Jerry. Well, you have a great weekend, man. It was fun having you on the show.
All right, you too.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for this interview. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the creative idea, the link to their campaign is in the description. You know, when I started off with the Indie Choice Picks videos, I wanted to give a platform to indie creators everywhere. So if you are an indie creator and you have a project that you're working on and you want to come on the show, find me on social media, preferably Twitter or Instagram, and let me know what you're working on. Also, a big shout out to Silver Tiger for giving me that awesome intro you saw at the beginning. I'm Will at Heroic Studios, and remember to support indie creators everywhere.